What opportunities do we see for the lawyers of the future in terms of new roles or perhaps different opportunities to work in other legal services providers beyond the traditional law firms?
I think it's quite an exciting landscape, actually. I think if I was getting a law degree now, for all of the doom-mongering around there's going to be no jobs because the robots are going to do them all, I said, actually, the robots doing all the stuff that would means I would never want to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
So you can learn, pick up the job more quickly. There's you can move in-house at an earlier stage in your career. It's more acceptable to do it. I mean, with a 2-year PQE is an acceptable point now. As it used to be something like 8.
Newly qualifieds can go in-house quite easily.
Yeah, trainee contracts with some of the big corporates, big financial services. You've got technology startups to go and advise on the law. There are a huge number of different ways of working within the legal sector that don't necessarily require you to have a legal practicing certificate and a 2-year training contract. I think there's a growing, just as the work gets disaggregated by the client, there's a growing acceptance that within a law firm you need a different set of skills, an increasing acceptance, project management, technology, process mapping, different skills that you can apply to a business that actually, I don't know whether they were there 15 years ago.
Yes.
You used to think a lawyer, you have to be a lawyer to do anything.
Yes, it used to be. If you can't get a job with a law firm, well, you're finished in law type of thing. You can't get a training contract. But I'd say the whole market is opening up. And I think as well, we touched on earlier, the fact that more and more parts of the legal process are being split off. They no longer necessarily have to be done within the law firm. There are all these supply companies out there, legal process companies that are a piece of the whole legal scheme where you can have a career in there. And I think the other point again, which we picked up on, you brought up, is that working in-house is no longer regarded as being a little bit second class now, very much. That is where there's a lot of interesting shift of control
from the firm.
And that would probably be a way to look. I'd say, I take your point. It's an exciting time to be in the market.
And just flying the flag for the law tech space, I think it's a great opportunity now. A lot of students, a lot of lawyers, a lot of startups I've seen in the legal space, in London particularly, are 1 or 2 years into practice, realise there's an opportunity with a bit of commercial experience, and then actually leaving and saying, I'm going to do a startup. You have a huge skill set by being a lawyer, or even just having training as a student, and we see, I'd say, 90% of the startups have a law background students, or they're recruiting for those, even if it's just a business development role, which is huge commercial skills to then go and continue your career as a lawyer. I think you're much more employable. And there's a lot of money around right now for law startups. If anyone has an idea, I'd really encourage them to look at it. I also think it's really interesting, and these stats may be slightly wrong, but the stats as I understand it, 6% of law students are women, but 30% of partners are women. So there's we have a working group around that, Women in Law Tech. And I think and that's not a gender specific group either, there's men and women there to discuss how to improve that. And I think it's a huge opportunity for the women who are already leaving law to actually get involved in technology and startups. So I think it's great, to echo your points, I think it's a great time to be entering law. It's a really positive thing.
So I need to fly the flag for risk management as well. I'm here, I run a legal risk practice, so it's one of the new areas in the law, is helping clients to work out where their business operations interact with law and regulation in a way that can cause loss. It's a completely different skill set to being a practicing transactional lawyer. It's applying operational risk with a knowledge of the law to work out what might go wrong, do scenario planning. There'll be a huge number of opportunities just in legal risk management. People who have a law degree cross-train over into risk, spend time with private practice, in-house teams, just to help to map out the landscape and work out where they can prevent issues from happening, which is just as a much better way of reducing legal spend rather than just pushing law firms on costs.
Yeah, it's the having the barrier at the top of the cliff rather than the ambulance at the bottom, which
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a fascinating area which we didn't really get. I should fly the flag for legal knowledge managers, of course.
absolutely.
And obviously we have a large number of lawyers that work for Thomson Reuters, writing content, pulling out key points of cases. What do people need to know and why? Looking at software solutions for lawyers as well. So yeah, another big business that employs a lot of lawyers. It's exciting.